What's going on, everybody? This week has gone by so fast. So fast. Bring this down a little bit. Right on. How's everybody doing? Ernie, what's happening, my friend? How you doing? I think we're ready. Yep. Let me fade this in. Beautiful. All right. Here we go. So I got this field. I did get this plowed. We will get the bonus, the buff. And I was thinking that we could go down and get some more digestate from the BGA. And then I remembered, I never clamped the rest of the grass that we put in there. Hey, Fried, how you doing? I didn't clamp the rest of the grass. So we've got, I want to say about 300K, 250, 300. Yeah, I put this in here, but I never clamped it. And I think, wow, it's noon in game. Looks like this is like Mordor in here. I really like the lighting on the Western Shore. So 250 in here, 245, just about 250. I never did clamp it. And this thing is empty. This tank over here is empty. So we do have some slurry at the farm that we could use, but I don't think we have enough for the whole field. Yeah, 0 in here. And then at the farm, we've got like 15,000 maybe. 22,000, not enough for the whole field. But just realized we got to feed our animals. All right, maybe we'll do that first. We got to feed the animals. So this is what I was thinking. I do have the Big Bag mod, or I'm sorry, the Bag Brother mod. I've got the Bag Brother mod, and that means we can buy manure. And I believe Bullet Bill has some hard manure spreaders in there. Hang on, let me confirm this thing is folded up. Are we folded? We are folded. Bullet Bill has some, I'm going to turn my lights on too, hard manure spreaders. I know I got some of them in there. And I think there might even be 2 sets, but there's at least 1. So I'm going to use some of Bullet Bill's hard manure spreaders and the Bag Brother mod. We'll spread hard manure on those fields, and then we'll cultivate them. If we can, we'll cultivate them and get the double bonus, right? We'll get 2 layers of FERT from 1. It's sort of, I don't know, it's probably a wash. But I do think it's more, carefully, more efficient maybe. And it's definitely a little more green, right? And we are trying to convert to all organic farming. So we could do 2 layers of pellet FERT, but for the same, just about the same work and the same price, we could probably do exactly the same thing, but have it be green. Sorry, concentrating, reading chat, try to do too many things at once. All right, I'll focus. All right, so how's everybody doing? How was your week? Mine went super, super fast. Like I said, it's been a very eventful week, very eventful 10 days in America, but it looks like we're going to be okay. So I'm super happy about that. And then my personal week went really, really fast. Got a lot done. It's been interesting for gaming as well. I saw Wyoming went from TBA to coming soon, and now it's back to TBA. I don't know if that was an error or if they just realized they have more to do. You know, I'm completely okay with them releasing Iberia for 1.40 and then Wyoming for 1.41. Typically, they release 2 DLC, like one for ATS and one for ETS at the same time for a new patch. But with COVID and 2020 and everything else, if they're not able to do that one year, it's really not a big deal. I'm not going to be bothered by that. So if we just get Iberia this spring, late winter, early spring, if we just get Iberia and then we get Wyoming later, that's fine. If they drop them at the same time, that's okay too. So the other great thing about SCS is their DLC are always so affordable. They're like $12, $15. I've seen blades for X-Plane that are like $120 for one aircraft. Yeah, it's been very, very exciting, very interesting. But thankfully, it didn't get completely out of hand. So, looks like we're moving forward. I hope. And we'll continue to move forward. It's a work in progress. You know, I don't know what history is like in Europe and the UK, but in the US, history, particularly like, I don't know, almost all the way to late high school, it's pretty sanitized. And I think we do a disservice to kids and ultimately to ourselves, because kids grow up to be us. I think we do a disservice when we sort of lie about history. You know, just because people did bad things doesn't necessarily mean anything. It doesn't reflect on you today. It doesn't reflect on the country today. You're just being honest about things that factually, historically happened. And to pretend that those things didn't happen, I think it really does a disservice. It really does. You gotta be realistic about the past if you're going to learn from it and grow. So maybe we can start doing that. All right, and I'm gonna try to lower this. It may unfold when I do. It may not. But are we getting the little? Oh, okay. I think we have to unfold it. Yep, and then lower it, and then we can unhook. Oh, easy. Yeah, I hope we are, Pontus. It's been very weird. I think the most important thing is that regardless of how you may feel about the other side, I think it's really, really important. Not you, I mean the editorial you, not you specifically, but regardless of how you feel about the other side, you know, however you're feeling about people that disagree with you, I think it's really critical that we stop dismissing those people. It doesn't make things that they do okay, but I think it's important that we stop categorizing big groups of citizens in the U.S., whether it's on the left or the right, doesn't matter what side you're on. We need to stop dismissing them as just wrong right out the gate. How they respond, how they act, that's a different story, but feelings are feelings, you know, and you're entitled to those. You're entitled to opinions, and you're entitled to grievances, and maybe we do need to start listening to one another a little bit more instead of just saying, oh, well, you're this, and so therefore you're dumb, and I'm not going to listen to you at all. Artie, if you're asking me if I got on the server, I did not. I was fighting with X-Plane till late, and then I woke up and started working like 3:30 this morning, which is the great thing about being self-employed. You can work whatever you want. I don't know if Fried was on, and I don't know if we were able to get him admin yet. What's the next thing? Oh, we got to get the animals fed. So let's go over here to animals, and we'll lease this thing as we've been doing, which is about 1,500. Got to put a license plate on it. There we go. Let's get this hooked up. And what else has been going on? Well, X-Played. I'll get into that a little bit as we progress, as we proceed. But I think I've found a workaround for some of the things that I was trying to figure out. I think I've found a way to. It's not perfect, you know, but nothing ever is. But I think I may have found a pretty good workaround. All right, back to the farm. Let's get these animals fed before they starve. We did breed some cows this year. I think we went from like 10 to 14 or 10 to 13. And I would hate to lose any of those. They are really, really valuable. Okay, Fred. I think... Oh, try not to clip the concrete there. I think if we can all get on tomorrow, I mean, we don't have to all get on. It's not a mandate or anything, but I think if we could figure out a time during the week that maybe we could be, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 people on there, I think that's a lot of fun when you get proper MP going. And if that's the case, then there will definitely be people there to get you sorted out. And I haven't figured out, it seems like, I mean, I thought you could make yourself an admin once you had admin. But if that's not the case, then I will definitely make you an admin. And obviously we'll get the money sorted out straight away. But I was under the impression that once you signed into MP Manager as an admin, you could just make yourself an admin. Pontus, I think the mod hub is still being updated as people create mods. It's just nobody's creating them anymore. Like, if you made a mod for 17 to submitted it, I can't see why they wouldn't review it, test it, and throw it up there. I just don't think anybody's doing that anymore. I know there's some GitHub stuff that's being updated periodically, but there are quite a few. I wouldn't call them abandoned mods, because it makes it sound, I don't know, kind of negative. They're not abandoned. They've just kind of, time has passed them by. I know Bullet Bill is still making some stuff, but he's posting on Simply Safe, which is a great site, by the way. If you want to send some business their way, they're a nice group of folks to deal with. I think they're sort of picking up the torch from FSUK, since FSUK went away. But yeah, there's the Mod Hub. There is Simply Safe. Mod Hoster still has a few that I've seen on there that aren't too old. And what was the other one? Modding Velt posts some stuff periodically. And there's one other one. It escapes me. Forbidden Mods. They also get some FS17 stuff periodically. Man, the frame rate looks really, really good right now. I don't know how YouTube is stepping on it, because their compression can be kind of cruel, but this looks really, really crisp, and I don't know, man. 60 FPS. I don't know what it is that happens. It could be because of refresh rate and various other things, but I feel like the closer you get to 60 FPS, the more crisp a game gets. It's not how necessarily how fast it's refreshing, but like how smoothly. I don't know. I'm not explaining it right. There is a difference, though. There definitely is. All right. I just saw it. There's a ton going on in chat. Let me see what's going on over here. Okay. FSUK is back. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I hope that works out for them. Fried, there may be. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm not in any way like trying to talk down to you or anything. But as far as I know, if you can get into MP Manager as an admin, you've got your root, baby. You can move yourself anywhere you want. You can assign yourself to farms, create farms. So it could just be. I struggled with it a little bit. It isn't the most logical mod, maybe. I struggled with it a little bit, but as far as I know, if you can get in as an admin, you can create yourself as an admin. I think. I could be wrong about that. All right, so right up in here, and we'll just drop this where we've been dropping it, over here on the side. And let me also, as we get working here, let's also see if we need to. So we're going to do this. Yeah, open this thing up. We may also need to muck out a little bit. I've been avoiding that, and it looks, oh God, it looks a little gnarly in there. So maybe we'll get those cleaned out. So right, while we're working here, let me tell you about VATSIM. Let me tell you my tale of woe. And ultimately, this is funny, and I'm not upset about it, and I hope it doesn't come out that way, because I'm not upset about it at all. It's just one of those things that happens in life. So I was on VATSIM. I put about 27 hours onto the servers over like 2 weeks, maybe a little bit longer. And I have to say, it is amazing. VATSIM is amazing. As a concept, it is amazing. But I would say it is analogous to a restaurant that has unbelievable food and really terrible service. It's I don't know. Apparently the whole thing was put together by like a bunch of grumpy old retirees. And I don't know why they did it. I really don't. I don't know why I don't know what their goal is. It is a non-profit. But I don't know whether they're trying to provide a service or whether they're just getting high on the smell of each other's farts, as somebody referred to it once. Just a great big ego fest. I don't know. But I know the product, when it works, it works. And the only negative feedback that I've heard about it before I got on was some of the controllers can be very, very rude. And I did hear that when I was on. I had some controllers that started kind of yelling and snapping at me. I mean, I'm new to this, man. I'm figuring it out. I realized that I only got really into X-Plane in October, right? Because I got Flight Simulator. I hadn't been in a flight sim for the longest time. DCS, but that's a different kind of flight sim. But I hadn't been in just a straight-ahead flight sim for a long, long time, years. So I got Flight Sim 20, and it was fun, you know, flying around VFR. It was fun. But as the bloom was off the rose, as people started to realize how buggy it was and how really not ready it was for IFR and airliners, I got back into X-Plane and started getting payware aircraft and mods and that sort of thing. And that's really only been since October. So as far as, you know, me flying jets, it's just been a few months. So there's plenty I don't know. And I hear VATSIM constantly described as a place of learning. All right, I like learning. But it seems like not all the time. And there are definitely some very patient, very supportive controllers. But all it takes is one. You know, you could go to the same coffee shop every day for years and get a fantastic cup of coffee, and, you know, everything is awesome, and you find one fingernail in your coffee, and you know what I mean? It's all ruined. It doesn't matter how many good cups of coffee you had. It doesn't matter how nice they were. That's kind of a deal breaker. And that's one of those truths in life, that it takes a long time to build a house, but some jackass with a Zippo lighter can burn it down in 20 minutes. It's a lot easier to break things than it is to build them. So I did have a couple controllers that were kind of snappy with me, and it is a very elitist kind of place. You're definitely made to know that you're not at the top of the list, which is fine. Work your way up. So I was doing Midweek Madness at Gatwick on Wednesday, and I think they forgot about me. I switched over from clearance delivery to ground, requested push and start. They told me I was number 10, and it was super busy, as it always is for those events. I think the last number that I heard was number 19. You're number 19 for push and start. And so I just sat and waited for like 40 minutes. I just waited. And I finally spoke to ground again and said, hey, am I still in the queue? Because what I was hearing was people were coming over from clearance delivery and requesting push and start and getting it immediately. So he had cleared the backlog. Ground had cleared the backlog, and it was time to go. So he had forgotten about me, or he called me and I missed it. But the thing is, the controllers typically call, like, I don't know, at least 4 or 5 times. They don't just call once and move on. So they would have called several times, and I definitely would have heard that. I didn't go anywhere. I was just sitting at my desk, which is an interesting way to play a video game, I have to say. Just sitting at your desk, waiting for something to happen. And he snapped at me. This controller snapped at me and told me, you got to speak to delivery about that. And I was like, delivery sent me here, and then you and I talked, and you told me I was number 10. So it's not, don't put this on me. I'm pretty sure you screwed up and forgot about me. And that happens. Nobody's perfect. I certainly make mistakes, but when I do, I don't yell at people. I'm not rude to people. So I sent an email to customer support, member services, and the reply that I got was, speak to VAT UK, which is perfectly reasonable. But then down at the bottom, it said, don't reply to this email because we're all volunteers. And I was probably, I would say conservatively, probably the 100th time I've heard somebody from VATSIM mention that they're volunteers. And I don't know, it just soured me immediately. As soon as I read that, I gave up on VATSIM. Because I think that elitism, and I think the aspect of, you're not part of the team, I don't think that was going to stop. And I've found plenty of Reddit going back years saying it's always been like that. You're always made to feel like a bit of a nuisance. So I responded and said, go ahead and delete my account and block my IP. I'm not going to be using the service anymore. And we kind of went back and forth, and I told them, I'm really not interested in the editorial about the fact that you're volunteering. I could care less. If you don't want to volunteer, then don't volunteer. But the idea that you're volunteering and then sort of constantly reminding me of it, I don't care. And their response was that reply, that signature in the email is auto-generated. And that was, I'm definitely out of patience. Because the implication is that, what, like an algorithm wrote that? Come on now. Somebody at some point wrote that. And it's just the continuous drumbeat of we're volunteers. And it does get tiresome. And I think the reason why, and what clicked for me when I read that, and why I ultimately lost interest in VATSIM, is you're not volunteers. You're not volunteering for anything. We're playing a video game together. Now, the flight sim people get furious. They get absolutely furious when you call any flight simulator a video game. But that's what it is. They sell it on Steam. Little kids play it. It's a video game. We're playing a video game together. We're LARPing together. You're not volunteering. It's like saying if you and your buddies want to go play a little footy, you know, somebody's got to be goalkeeper. All right. How about you? All right, I'll do it. And then they don't shut up about the fact that they're volunteering. So the rest of you can play. You're not volunteering. We're playing together. So that's where the idea of, you know, we're all volunteers. Well, you know what? Then I am too. I'm not getting paid. So I'm a volunteer as well. I'm volunteering to be a pilot for you so you can play your air traffic controller game. Right? Doesn't make any sense. We're playing together. Yeah, we're playing a video game together, right? That's all it is. It's just silly. So that's one thing. The other thing you constantly hear is the controllers have training. They're training. They've gone through extensive training. And again, you know what? Me too. Me too. I've spent since October, I've spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on X-Plane. And if I build my rig, that's going to be thousands more. And I put a lot of time into it. You know, I go to Gatwick, or I would go to Gatwick. I'd go to Gatwick offline, single player, and just practice the departure. It's a really, really tricky departure when you fly out of 26 left to the north, as I do, to fly to Glasgow, because that's one of my regular routes. Because Gatwick is so close to Heathrow, you have to make this very sharp 180-degree turn back along the runway heading, and you have to keep it under 220 knots. And the aircraft that I fly, the MD-88, RNAV, and LDAV, is not so good. So essentially, I'm trying to hand fly that departure, hand fly that turn, and get the aircraft buttoned up after takeoff, right? Bring the flaps in, turn the lights off, and switch over to control, right? Find a new frequency on the radio, get it dialed in, speak to control, and let them know, hey, departing Gatwick, right? Flight level 2500, climbing to 5000, whatever. Trying to do all that at once, it's really, really hard. And so I spent a lot of time offline practicing it. So you have a lot of training? Hey, me too. You know, I don't think they do. And that's the thing about being an elitist is it requires people that aren't elite. As much as people that think themselves to be elite, as much as they let you know how much it bothers them to have to interact with people that aren't as good at something as they are, secretly they love it because it's the only opportunity for them to gloat, right? If everyone is special, then nobody is. So I feel like people that are really into their own elitism, on some level, I would hope they recognize they really do need people who aren't elite so that they can feel special. And I have to say, most of the controllers, most of the people on VATSIM do seem super, super nice. It's just the ones that are, you know, the ones that are over the top, the ones that ruin it for everybody. So the idea that they're volunteering doesn't make any sense to me. The idea that they have all this training doesn't make any sense. And the final thing that they sort of go on and on about is how they are there for us. And I think, no, man, you're really not. You're here for you. You're here because you enjoy it. You want to play air traffic controller, and that's totally cool. It works out well because I want to play Sim Pilot. And if we can get together, we can help each other out. You keep saying you're here for me. Well, if I wasn't here, if there were no pilots here, there'd be nothing for the controllers to do. So we need each other. That's what I mean when I say we're just all getting together to play a video game. Yeah, that's totally true, Ernie. And I think the internet makes it so much easier to me, there's a really fine line between elitism and bullying. And I was bullied when I was a kid. It took me a long time to be comfortable admitting that. And what I finally realized was I didn't do anything wrong. Why am I embarrassed about that? And it's because as a guy, we're never supposed to be weak, right? We're never supposed to be vulnerable. But when I was a kid, I got bullied. I'm autistic. I talk differently than a lot of people do. I express myself differently. I think differently. And I got bullied. Oh, wait a minute. We're not going back over here. I was going to get another hay bale. I need more silage. So I was bullied when I was a kid. And I wouldn't say that I studied it, but I definitely came to understand why bullies do what they do. And there really is a very fine line between elitism and bullying. I would say elitism is bullying without the implied violence or the implied threat of violence. But I have no patience with bullies. I don't get bullied anymore. Imagine that. Spend enough time in the gym, shave your head, get a bunch of tattoos. Suddenly, nobody wants to bully you. Aw. So yeah, I don't want to fight anybody. But I'm willing to fight anybody I have to. I'm willing to fight everybody. And I will never back down from a bully again. And I sort of extend the same thing out to elitism. You know, who you fronting? Who you fronting on? We're all playing a video game, and you're taking this so seriously. So I did tell them to delete my account and block my IP. And I did that specifically because apparently they ban people left and right, and people are kind of hooked on the service, so they like sneak back in. They've got proxy servers and spoofing their IP address and everything else. So I really didn't want to let them know, I'm done with you. I'm totally done with you. Hey, flute song. Hang on. Let's skip this one. So I did tell them to delete my account. They sent me the confirmation email. And this was, if I had any other doubt about whether or not this was a smart move, the email that says your account is now deleted, down at the bottom it says, don't ever try to create another account with an exclamation mark. And as soon as I saw that exclamation mark, I knew I made the right choice, because that is a business communication. And BizCom, marketing communication, branding, that's what I do. And when I see a business communication with that type of punctuation in it, it seems like a small thing. It seems like a really unimportant thing, but it's not. Words matter. That's literally what words do. They tell you what people are thinking. And when I see that type of punctuation, I think this is a person with poor impulse control. They're completely unprofessional, and they're yelling. That's what that little mark means at the end of a sentence. It means somebody just yelled that at you. And either they're too dumb to know that, or they're so uncivilized that they think that's okay, that it's all right to yell at people. So I did make the right choice, and I will miss it, because it's one of those services that there's nothing else like it. There's no other way to get that type of immersion. But ultimately, the idea that I would be that I would feel like I was walking on eggshells, because the thing is, I said earlier, you're not volunteers. We're all just playing a game together. But that's sort of a good thing, because if you really were a volunteer, that means you work for me, and you have to do whatever I say, and I say stop being rude. So as tempting as it is to say, well, I'm a volunteer, so what does that mean? It means you can do whatever you want? If you're volunteering, you're still working for me. If you go hook up with Doctors Without Borders, You can't just do whatever you want. You got to do what they tell you to do. Just because you're volunteering doesn't mean it's a free-for-all. So the idea that, we're volunteers, so we're exempt. No, you're not. Volunteer just means you're not getting paid, but you are at work. And if you're at work, then do what I say, because I'm the customer, right? You keep saying you're doing this for me. All right. Be a good employee then. Be my good employee. So nobody wants that. And that's when the idea that they're volunteering sort of falls apart. Because if they were volunteering properly, then they would be focused on customer service with the people that they say they're there for, right? The pilots. They would focus on taking care of them. And they don't. So ultimately I made a good choice, but I will miss it. And as we get rolling here, I got a couple other solutions that I think may be, and it's not perfect, but a couple other things that I think may work out. Carefully. And I did try IVAO, which is kind of a twin to VATSIM. Oh, look at that. Is that... Oh, 150 liters left in there. 1%. Perfect. That's just about as good as we can hope for. So they need a straw bale, and they need some wheat. We might have wheat, I think. Hang on, let me set the brake. Is this wheat right here? It might be. Yeah, I just saw that come in already. Yep, no patience for it whatsoever. I make mistakes all the time. There's things I'm good at. It doesn't mean I'm perfect at them. I make mistakes, I screw up. And you know what? If you don't tell me about that, how am I supposed to get better? But the idea that anybody is perfect at anything is just it's just ridiculous. Or that you would kind of lord it over somebody. That's ridiculous. Particularly when it's something as trivial as a video game. And I'm going to call it a video game now just you know what I mean? Just to troll. That's what it is. They sell it on Steam. It's a video game. You can play it as realistically as you want, but it's just a game. Of all the things to try to hurt somebody over, really? A video game? Come on now. So I did get IVAO. I got the client, and I got it installed. I was sort of testing it out. And the way I have my sound set up, I've got my system sounds turned down relatively low. I've got my game sounds turned down relatively low. And then Spotify is a little bit louder. But the mix is good, and I just sort of control the volume through my headset, right? Through the volume wheel on my headset. But the way it's set up, if I want to turn the music up, I can do that without turning the game up, right? So those are my settings. So as I'm Xing out of this client, it plays the Miss Pac-Man Game Over sound, really effing loud. And I about came out of my seat because it was, I don't know. I don't know what it was tied to, but it was unbelievably loud and scared the hell out of me. So I took a look in the settings. I didn't find a way to turn that off. So I uninstalled the client and I'm not going to use it. Because it's thoughtless. It's silly. But it's also, it makes me wonder about the rest of the code, because that's sort of a boomer move. That's like the 90s, right? When websites would play sound files. And even like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, where websites would autoplay videos. Or fortunately, I never did this. But there was a time in web design where you would put an autoplay video below the fold, right? So you can't see it. It's down on the lower part of the web page when you're in browser, but it would start playing. So you try to read a web page, right? You're on a website, you're trying to read a page, and you can hear something going on. You can hear a commercial playing, or you can hear music or something. What in the... but you can't see it. You have to scroll down to find it. Yeah, that era. Thankfully passed. But when I hear unrequested, unsolicited, cutesy sounds in a client, in an app, it reminds me of that era, and it definitely makes me think of boomers, right? Like, hey, wouldn't it be cute if our online virtual air traffic control client played a really loud sound from the 80s. Wouldn't that be funny? That'd be funny. Let's go ahead and do that. So again, it may seem impulsive. It may seem like I decide things very quickly, but that was enough for me to know that this is not a good fit. So not going to try IVAO either. I like the idea of Pilot Edge because I guess they are paid air traffic controllers. I mean, not real ones, but they're paid in the sim. The problem is, here's the problem. The problem is it only represents the Western United States, which is, in fairness, not a bad place to fly. But it's not my preferred place to fly. I really do like to fly in Europe. And the other thing, and this may or may not sound like a big deal to you, but the entire Western US is staffed by, I would guess, 5 or 6 people. The service is $400 a year. I don't know how many people have it. It's more of a training tool for people that are practicing to be real pilots. It's more of a training tool than kind of a fun thing to do. And it is very accurate. And because you're paying them, they're never rude. But one of the other problems is you can have a controller hand you off to themselves. So as you're leaving Denver departure is going to hand you off to Salt Lake Center, and it's the same person, right? So whoever, Bob is going to tell you, all right, go to Seattle Center. They're going to give you a frequency, right? You read the frequency back. Thank you, good night. Switch over to the new frequency. And when you introduce yourself, right, with you at 32,000, Bob comes back on. So it's, you know, I get it. It's a specific tool for a specific type of, we need a manure spreader. It's a specific tool for a specific type of use, and that's totally cool. Yeah, these are, so this is the one bullet bill spreader right here. And then this is the other. 8,000 liters, 18,000, 12,000, right in the middle. Let's go with this one. We'll just leave it all as is. We got some money. Yep, let's get this leased. And it's 80 horsepower as well. Yeah, I mean, I think if you were practicing to get your private pilot's license, I think it would be well worth it because you're spending so much money on that process anyway. I think it would be worth it. For me, I don't think it would. And I know they do have hours as well. I think their hours are based on peak use. So the thing about VATSIM is there can be controllers on any time of the day or night. If you volunteer to take a shift, you can pick when you want to. I think they try to staff certain centers at specific times in VATSIM, but with the controllers being paid in Pilot Edge, I think they have to be a little bit more careful. They can't just have, you know what I mean, unlimited controllers 24 hours a day because they do have to pay them. Manure, this thing holds, what we say, 12,000, so we'll buy 6 of these. Oh, snap. I just realized how expensive this stuff is. Oh no. It's always something. It's always something on the farm. All right, let's borrow some money here. This may not end well. Cover your ears. All right, back here. So we'll get 6 of these. I think we're going to have to fill up like twice maybe. So Pilot Edge, I like the idea of it. I think it just might not be a good fit for me. All right, where they at? Right there. So what I found instead, I found several mods, plugins, apps. Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. I don't know if we're ever going to make money on this farm. Now, our first year, we were buying animals, and we bought land. And what else did we do? We bought a tractor. So I feel like our second year, we won't have to spend all that money. But it's sort of moot because we don't have any money. You know what I mean? It's, but look at me. I'm being so thrifty. I'm not spending any money at all. Well, yeah, fool, you don't have any. You spent all your money. So I don't know if it's possible to get out of debt. You'd think. So I think the way that this is going to work, I found 2 mods, 2 apps. One of them is called, oh, I forgot already. X-Life. Not what it sounds like. It's called X-Life. And it's 2 things. There's a free version that just brings in AI aircraft into the game. And that was it's a little trickier than it sounds, but this X-Life does it really, really well. So the first thing you do is you tell the game to stop spawning static aircraft, because it will do that. It will populate aircraft around an airport. It just randomly puts them at gates, but they don't go anywhere and they don't move. So you have to turn that off first. And then once you get X-Life installed, you download the CSL pack from Bluebell, which is like every model of aircraft currently in use around the world and every livery of every airline. And you put that in. And the way that X-Life is set up, it spawns traffic both on the ground and in the air, and sort of both, because it'll spawn a plane at a gate, and you'll see that plane back away from the gate, taxi to the runway, take off and fly away. But the way that it spawns them in is based on where you are. So I've been flying Gatwick to Glasgow, and then to switch things up a little bit, I started flying Dublin to Amsterdam. And when I spawned in Dublin, there were Ryanair and EasyJet everywhere. By the time I got to Amsterdam, it was more like KLM and Lufthansa. So the app does a really good job of making sure that the traffic that is around you is relevant to where you are. And it's definitely very lifelike. And there's plenty of planes moving around, it's nice. Without that, and one of the things I think that got me so hooked on VATSIM so quickly is sort of the comparison would be, imagine truck sim with no traffic, where you're just driving around on these highways by yourself. And it's sort of, you're still driving, you're still doing the same thing, but the immersion is just, there isn't any. There's no immersion whatsoever. So that's what X-Plane is like in base game. And once you get on VATSIM, it's a very crowded world. And when you step away from VATSIM, then it is, you know what I mean? Can't be unseen. It's kind of lonely. There's really nothing going on. So bringing in X-Life really animates the sim, the game. It just brings it to life. There's a ton going on. And you have to wait, right? Oh, and that's the other component. The free component just populates aircraft. The paid component brings in an ATC element, and it's AI. It's not perfect, but you start on the ground, and your first frequency you dial in is ATIS. Get your weather information, get everything swapped over. If your aircraft is not configured properly based on ATIS, which is adjusting the altimeters based on the current pressure, when you go to clearance delivery, right? Because in real life and in sim, when you go to clearance delivery, the first thing you tell them is the weather that you have, right? So it's got a letter. If you've ever heard that, like in a movie or something, or if you're into flight sim, when you first speak to clearance delivery, you always say with information Lima or with information Zulu or whatever. It's a letter that's attached to the most recent weather forecast, and it's a way of confirming to air traffic control that you do have current weather. So you have to have that letter in X-Life, right? You have to have the information, and you have to have your altimeters configured correctly, and you have to have a flight plan file, and you do all that, and you will get clearance. All right, very cool. So in that way, it is AI. So it's sort of I don't know. It's not as immersive because it's not people, but it works. And once you have your clearance, then you finish your pre-flight, request push and start. They switch you over to ground. Ground gives you your push and start. You request taxi. They lay out all the taxiways for you, and you have to follow them. And when I got to my hold point, they had me just hold there. And it turns out there was an aircraft on final. That aircraft landed. They gave me clearance. Off I went. They gave me vectors. And after I had cleared their airspace, they put me back on my own navigation. So it essentially recreates all the steps that real ATC or VATSIM would have, but it does it with an AI context. So it works. The other thing that I like about it is on 24/7. Every airport is staffed, right? Because it is AI. I don't need to pick and choose what airports I want to go to. And let's get rolling here. I don't know how far this is going to go. This was, what, 6 of these, 2,000. This was 12,000 pounds of fertilizer. All right, let's hope this works. I don't know how far we're going to get in this field. Here we go. Need to unfold. All right, I'll unfold it. Here we go. Yeah, you know, I wouldn't say I like people. I really do. I think people are wonderful. They fascinate me, but I prefer to enjoy their wonderfulness from a distance. They're nonlinear, and I'm a very linear person. I don't want to keep harping on autism, but the thing about being autistic is everything is very data driven. It's linear. It's a very linear way to see the world. It's just the data. What do the numbers say? And people tend to be emotional, and they do things that don't match up with the data. They make irrational decisions. They're nonlinear. They're random. And I think that's the reason why I like people, but I like them more from a distance. And I'm particularly I have zero patience for people that don't have a lot of impulse control, emotional outbursts, that sort of thing. Because again, that's the sort of thing you get on the internet, but it's not the kind of thing that I get in person anymore. And I think, there are people that are maybe a little rowdy online, and I don't know that those people would necessarily be saying those sorts of things if they were online with you at the grocery store. There goes my voice. When we get to the top of the hill, I gotta have some water. So there is, I don't know, that's sort of a gray area. It's not exactly bullying, but it is. But that's the way the internet is. It's anonymous and it's consequence free. So you do have a lot of things that go down on the internet that would never go down in real life, right? And I read this years ago about road rage. People in their cars. You get in your car. Cars are so soundproof now. You're sort of separated from the outside world. You got the music. You got your heat, your AC, right? It's very much like being in your house. You're in your little kingdom. So when somebody cuts you off in traffic, right, you're screaming through the window and you're flipping them off and you're really having a fit. And you wouldn't do that same thing if somebody got in front of you at the post office, right? It's you got to be a crazy person to act that way. But in your car, it's like, I wouldn't say that it's okay. We're just sort of used to it. And I think the internet has become such a toxic place. The idea of being impulsive or belligerent or abusive to people, it's like, yeah, so what? What's the big deal? It's just the internet. But there's still a person on the other end. You're still saying and doing those things to a real person. Hang on, let me drink some water. Yep, I agree with you, Fried. I think there are times when it is appropriate, but it's got to be a good time. It's got to be something better than a video game. All right, and there may be some little gaps in this field, but I'm not going to stress about covering every little bit. So, yeah, ultimately, I do really love and respect people as a concept, but as individuals, I do tend to keep my distance a little bit. All right. And then what was the last one? Oh, and the last one that I got is called Chatter? X-Chatter. I don't know, something. And what this does is it brings in, I guess, recorded ATC. And I don't know what OCD lunatic put this mod together. But because you have different types of ATC and different channels, they segregated it out first by region and then by channel. So when you're in Europe, and depending on what country you're in, so when I spawn in at Schiphol, the first thing I'm going to hear is delivery. So if you select the frequency, right, for skip hole delivery while you're running X chatter, you hear Dutch people. Well, you hear Dutch controllers, but they're working with pilots from all over, sorting out clearance delivery. And once you're done with clearance, you switch over to ground, and it's the same thing. You dial in the real frequency from skip hole, and you can hear Dutch controllers and pilots from all over talking about ground activities, right? Push and start, taxi, that sort of thing. I can't imagine how many sound files went into creating this, because it's North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Eurasia, regular Asia, I guess. So there's like 7 different regions. And then for every region, there's half a dozen different channels. And I haven't heard anything repeating yet. So I suspect that for every channel, there are just tons and tons and tons of sound files playing. Enough so that it doesn't get repetitive and you're not hearing the same. Because you know how I don't know, something will sort of catch your ear, turn to the phrase or something. And once you've heard it in a loop, you just keep hearing it looping over and over. I haven't heard anything twice yet. So I'm really impressed with that. And they were all, I think, $20 a piece. So yeah, there's and there's another one called XP Realistic, but that's more just sounds. I may turn that off. Oh man, it is an OCD labor of love. No other way to describe it. And I say that with, I'm on the team. I'm on Team OCD. So I say that as a compliment. And I hope that whoever created it, I hope it brought them a lot of peace to sort that out and get all those files organized. Because that is definitely, you know what I mean? When I work on a project like that, I'm just a little rat in a cage banging on that bar to get my cocaine pellet. Give it to me. But sorting out big projects like that, constructing the flow, doing the research, and then just kind of digging in and slogging through hundreds or thousands of files, figuring out a naming convention, all that sort of stuff, that to me is just, that's my drug. So whoever put that together, it is an absolute masterpiece. So when I combine all that, it is, if VATSIM is 100, I'd say it's probably 70 to 80. And then base X-Plane is maybe 10 to 15. So it is a massive improvement over base X-Plane. But it's not as good as VATSIM. And I do need to stress that VATSIM is a really amazing service, and it's not for me, but if you're thinking about checking it out, please do, because it could be perfect for you if you're looking for that sim air traffic experience. And there's really nothing else like it that I've found, and I did do a ton of research on it. So yeah, don't let me, that's my personal experience, but I'm a little bit different. So if you're thinking about checking it out, please do, because it's worth it. And I think between the payware aircraft and now we got all the mods running, and I think X-Plane for the moment is done. I think I can now step away from it and ignore it for 6 months, which is kind of what I do with games. Just play the hell out of them. Not necessarily burn out on them. You just sort of get to a point, you know, you just get to that stasis, and it's like, I kind of want to play something else now, and then you binge on something else. Or at least I do. I know some people do. I know I do. I don't know if everybody does. So that is my X-Plane. That's my story. That's what's going on there. I do love it though. It's very soothing to do that whole startup process. Oh, and it will, X-Life will send you vectors. Can we get 5 more of these? Oh my goodness. I don't know if we can finish this field before we run out of money. I'm just going to max it out. Master mod creating the whole world in the game. What's the one for GTA 5? You want to do it? Oh no. We've only got another $5,000. What? Wait a minute. Oh, I repaid it. Oh. We had $5,000, a little over $5,000, and I thought I borrowed another $5,000, and then suddenly we had 800. I thought some fees had gone through at the top of the hour, like a rental fee or something. We're dead in the water, by the way. We can sell some milk. Do we own a milk trailer? Yeah, we do. We're we are out of loan. We're down to our last 1,200 pounds. I think we're going to have to sell some cows. We're going to have to clear out the dairy. Now, we do have, I want to say about 30 or 40 grand worth of silage down at the BGA. But yeah, we're going to have to sell some stuff. We are out of money and out of loan cap. It is the Los Santos PD. What's the big... there's a great big mod for GTA 5 where you can essentially like replay the entire game from the other side. And the thing about games like GTA 5 is I don't know that some of those were created to be modded. All right. Well, this is all we're getting. Can't fill the thing. I mean, well, hang on. What's cow worth? In fact, we can just run right over here and do it. Can we? No, we can't. We can sell from... Can we sell from here? Yeah, that's the one. Now, was GTA 5 from day one, was that designed to be modded? Or was that something that kind of got added later? I don't think I can sell from here. Yeah, we can only sell from the farm. Or can we? Oh, haha. Check my style. There we go. All right, there's 10 grand. Let's get out of the crack here. That's what I was thinking. That game was not built to be modded. People figured that ish out on their own. That is amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. Because something like Farm Sim was designed to be modded, right? They make the SDK and Giants Editor. They make that available to modders. It was designed to be modded. There's a mod hub. Yeah, that's amazing. How, man, that is some big D energy. You know what I'm saying? To just take a look at a video game. Just take a look at a random video game and be like, you know what? I think I'm gonna look into the game code and see if I can rewrite parts of this video game. You know, as one does. That's amazing. That's the sort of stuff about people that really makes me like people. Right? Love that energy. I love the creativity and just the, I don't know, just the whatever of it. I'm going to do something. It's never been done before. So what? I'm going to figure out a way to do it. Makes me smile. Hang on. But not from day one. Yeah, I do think some devs, they may not anticipate that their game will be modded. But all right. But I think when they realize that their game is being modded or that people want to mod it, I think it's smart for them to get on board. Well, some. I won't generalize, but I think it can be a really smart move for some devs. Others, not so much. And I think ultimately the dev and the publisher have to decide, is mod support going to generate enough interest in our game and keep people playing it in a way that will allow us to sell more titles? Or is it just going to pull business away from our DLC model? And I mean, in that way, Giants, I think they sort of split the difference because they do sell DLC, they do sell Season Pass, but they also have a ton of free mods. So it's a nice balance. I mean, you can buy base game and never spend another penny on Farm Sim, or you can buy every DLC that drops. Anywhere in between. Same with Truck Sim. Tons of mods. You can run that game. I mean, you can buy either Truck Sim on sale for $5 and never spend another dime. And now I think Pro Mods does require DLC, does it not? Carefully, driving off the road here. Reading. Yeah, I mean, GTA 5 is the biggest selling and most profitable video game in history, right? That's one thing. And then I believe it's also Like in terms of dollars, it is like the second or third most profitable entertainment franchise, and it's only a single title. Oh, no. I'm sorry. When I think of GTA 5, I'm thinking of GTA 5, but the Grand Theft Auto franchise, it's second behind like James Bond and Lord of the Rings or something. Unbelievably profitable. So, yeah, if it's not broken, right? Why would they do anything differently when they've got the most popular, most successful game in history? Yeah, okay. So amend that. I was thinking you could buy ETS 2, never spend another dime, and have access to a massive map, but you can't. You would need to have the DLC. But you'd have base map. You'd have base map, base trucks, and all the free mods you could handle. Stingray, what's happening? Welcome. So yeah, you don't have to spend money on DLC. You can do it all with mods. And but it is different for every title, for sure. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I'm trying to think of any developers that got it totally wrong with mods, where they either blew up their own business model by allowing mods or tanked sales by not allowing mods. I mean, there's whole games that have come out of it's either Postscriptum or Squad, maybe. No, it's the other way. DayZ was a master mod for Arma 2, is that right? I don't know, something like that. How much of this field have we got done so far? Are we gonna say half? We're gonna say half because I don't think we can buy a whole lot more fertilizer. I don't think we can afford a whole lot more manure. In hindsight, this was probably not the smart play. But you know what? Nobody's ever accused me of being super smart. Here we go. I would put this on a worker and have them just fill up as if by magic. Oh, you know what? I just realized something. We've got a little bit of manure down there. I don't know if we have 12,000 liters. You know what? We might. Now, I forgot that last time when we were using the slurry sprayer. I forgot that we had a ton in the tank at the farm. And I could have used that to finish the field instead of leaving it like, I don't know, 10% undone. So we won't make that same mistake again. If and when we run out of hard manure, we can top this off with what's in the bunker. Glad I remembered that. Okay. I mean, it's a plan of sorts. I always have a plan. It's not a very good one, but it is a plan. Ultimately, I just feel really fortunate to have come back into gaming when I did. And it is, I don't know, sometimes you can't see things because you're a little too close to them. But it is interesting for me to realize that I'm part of the sim gaming community and to realize the reputation the sim gaming community has. I mean, I know Xbox Live and, you know, the COD kids, they've got their reputation for doing what they do, but sim gamers have, we've definitely got our characters, you know, and a reputation, a larger reputation as far as how different parts of the sim community, just what they're like. I think the farm sim community has got to be one of the nicest parts of sim gaming. And I would say train and sim are at the other end of the spectrum. They don't strike me as being nearly as happy and easygoing. Taking things a little too seriously, maybe. All right, I'm suddenly optimistic. I think with what we have in here, because we've still got half a tank in here, and with what we've got in the bunker on the farm, maybe we will be able to finish this field. And then we'll hop in a cultivator. And what I have in here would probably go a little bit further if I stopped spraying the grass. Yeah, same fried. And I think it's important that if you do feel like the people around you or the community that you're a part of, if it's not working for you, don't feel obligated to stick around. You know, that's one of the things that I found consistently on Reddit last night was a lot of so VATSIM is run by boomers, and a lot of the 20 somethings, it's like they got Stockholm syndrome or something. They continue to remain involved with people who don't really treat them very nicely. And I think that's the that's the crux of it. I kept hearing this sort of apologist attitude yesterday that you have no idea how hard the controllers work, and you have no idea, and it's just on and on. You have no idea, and I think, well, then quit, man. If it's so miserable for you, just stop doing it. You're not on the clock. You don't do simulated air traffic control to feed your kids or anything. Just stop. If you don't like it, just stop. Which is why I left VATSIM. I realized this is not going anywhere good, so let's just stop. If you don't like something, don't do it. I'd rather play solo dolo all day long than spend time with people that I don't enjoy. Yeah, same fried. I've been really lucky to find some really cool people to hang out with. All of you, for one, and the modders that I've made contact with, and tubers and streamers. It's a great community, no doubt. It really is. And I mean, there's definitely different ways to enjoy yourself. And I think having a lot of intensity in a game, if watch a PUBG or CSGO tournament toward the end, it is super, super intense. But I feel like the people that make it that far, I mean, I don't know if they're like selected out for this or if it sort of selects itself because it's just part of being a competent, like fully formed human being. But as intense as it gets in those tournaments or in a Madden tournament or whatever, game over. And it's, hugs and handshakes and GGs. Or Joe, what's happening? So I think it doesn't matter how intense the game is. It's how well you're able to compartmentalize, how well you're able to act and think like an adult and realize, like, yeah, it's okay. American football, you got people that are hitting each other so hard they're putting each other in the hospital, and 5 minutes later, game's over. They're hugging each other and making plans to go duck hunting in the off season. So I think well-adjusted people are able to split the difference between those two. And people that are a little bit, less so, they take it too seriously when they're doing it, and they continue to take it too seriously even after they stop. Rogel, I'm going to send you a new keyboard because your cap lock seems to be broken. I want you to get that fixed. So there's a counter, right? Like if we put a hired worker on, we can tell them to pull manure, right? To autofill with manure. But I've never figured out on this map if it comes from inside the barns or if it comes from the bunkers. I don't know if there's any way to script that where if you put manure into a pit that the game can somehow see it, right? Recognize it so that you can use it. I don't know if that's possible. Yeah, exactly, Ernie. It's just a game. There's things that matter in this life, but video games ain't one of them. I was going to say if it was a choice between gaming and the health of my girl or one of my friends or something, I'll right on. I'm an Android user myself. If it was a choice between gaming and the health or safety of somebody that I care about, it's a no-brainer. Their health and safety is more important to me any day of the week. And in fact, I would even extend that out and say that would apply to a stranger. if if me not gaming could help a stranger, just as a person, as a human being, it's like, ah, all right, that's probably the right thing to do. So from that perspective, yeah, it's like, it's not that there are some things more important than gaming. Everything's more important than gaming. So, yep, it was definitely a learning experience though, and I hope I came out of it having figured some things out and learned some things. And I'm certainly not ill about it or bitter about it or anything. Just kind of stepping through the process. And I have found in my life over and over again that things not going the way I want can very often work out better in the long run. 200 hours on Aggro Sea. That's a great map, isn't it? It's really different. I don't know what it is about that map. There's no other map like it. And I do like the V2, the way they expanded the pigs out and some of the other stuff they did up top. Really like that map. I'm amazed that it flew under the radar because it is quality. And I think, where are we at on time? That is for 17, Fried. Man, when you're growing slowly, when your farm is growing slowly, things like this really make you appreciate the telehandler and the big bucket. I don't know how we're going to make money. I really, really don't. Because once we get this field done, then we need to lease a cultivator. We're going to have to fertilize this field a third time. Now, by spring, we'll probably have enough. I hope. Oh, easy. We'll probably have enough slurry from the cows by spring that we'll be able to use that, I hope, for our final fert. 250,000 liters at the BGA, and I believe that's about 30,000 at the current price. If we got great demand for it, it would be 60, but we've got about 30,000 liters, I'm sorry, 30,000 pounds worth, and I think it would make 100,000 liters of digestate. I could be wrong about that. Oh, right on, Fried. Those pictures you sent were amazing. The ones you dropped on Discord. That's definitely a multiplayer map. And I'm trying to think what else. I really haven't seen any news about anything else. Anything else. I really haven't. I've been carefully. What is with the cap blocks today? Jaden, be careful. Don't piss off the Nightbot. 64x map. Alright, that's just being ridiculous. How are you even going to play a map that big? And what are you going to put on it? And how long would it take to populate it? You know what I mean? How long would it take to... if you wanted to make it detailed, how long would it take to do all that? Stingray, I'm thinking it's that J.J. Abrams glare that you get on any piece of metal in 19. It's like the retina burn. I don't know why they set it up that way. I feel sometimes like developers, if they come up with something like a piece of code or a visual effect or something, they tend to go over the top with it. It's like, hey, look what we did. And they, whoa, three-wheeling it. And they want everybody to see it. Right? Just put it in there as part of the game. It doesn't need to be front and center. Just let it be, you know, let it be the icing. It doesn't have to be the cake. All right, finally it's full. So I'm gonna go drop the bucket over at the pit. We'll do this one more time. Now, if we are not able to finish with what we have in here, I mean, what we have in the spreader right now, if we're not able to finish with that, I think we can fill it one more time. Man, I'm just throwing this thing around like crazy. Driving it like a two-door Honda. If we're not able to finish with what we have in the spreader, then I'm very confident that what we have here in the pit will be enough. Because we are... At times is hard. It's really beginning to not look good for the farm. Because before, we didn't have any money. We were barely covering our interest, but we had enough money at any given moment to lease equipment. And I feel like we're losing that ability. Like pretty soon we're not going to have enough money to rent a way to get seed into the ground. Right? Like we're not going to have enough money to rent mowers next year. And when that happens, there's no way to make money anymore. Because we can't feed our cows and it all just, the wheels come off. I've never gone bankrupt in this game. So hopefully that doesn't happen now. And what I can do, either off camera or next episode or something, is we'll get the silage down at the BGA. We'll get that going. Now, Fried, when you say pick up, do you mean using mods or making mods? Oh, hang on. Thought we were unfolded. Making mods? Right on. That's so cool. I have dabbled a little bit in Giants Editor, and I've made small edits to tractors, and that's it. Made some small edits to maps. But I tried making a map once. I got so angry I had to go take a nap. It was not going to work out for me. Yep, that's where I started. In fact, I put this little GPS aerial on because for some reason my OCD gets triggered. If I'm using GPS in a tractor that doesn't have a GPS dome, I'm triggered. It has to be resolved. I can't take it. So I went in and added that for just that reason. Yeah, I think it's mostly a trial and error thing. I mean, there's a lot of good videos. There's a lot of good resources. But for me, the fastest way to learn is to just do it over and over and over and make mistakes. And eventually, you know what I mean? You find one that holds together. After all the effort, it actually works the way you want it to, and that's from there, it just gets easier and easier. The thing I've never really put any serious time into, and I know I should, is Blender. And I guess my, call it a concern. I guess my concern about Blender is that if I like it as much as I think I might, that it would become a time toilet for me, and I have too many time toilets at the moment between working and gaming, and all the sort of ancillary stuff that's involved with gaming that isn't gaming. You know, I forget about that. I'm not editing video anymore because everything is live stream, but that used to be a big thing. And I'm transferring the brand over to all the trucks. So I'm trying to skin 1 or 2 trucks per day. Those take about an hour. And I didn't realize how many trucks I have. There's a lot of them. Had to skin all the planes, making mods work together, working on the farm off camera. You know, just all that stuff. I guess it's all sort of gaming related, but it's not. When I think of gaming, I think of like leaning back on the couch with a glass of wine and playing COD with your buddies. Yeah, Stingray. I feel like it's different for every game. I think there are games that look like absolute trash, but they are just unbelievably playable. And there are other games that look amazing that really, you know, they don't have legs. Once you finish the main story, it's like, well, glad that's over with, and you never pick it up again. I feel like Ubisoft is dealing with that with the Assassin's Creed franchise. Valhalla was supposed to be such a big deal, I mean, I know 2020 was a weird year, but that game just kind of came and went. It's like, yeah, Assassin's Creed. Been there, done that. Seen it all. Moving on. So I think it's absolutely different for every title, but for me personally, I think it is the details that make the game. And some of that is me just get kind of hung up on little stuff, but things like dynamic hose being in 19, I don't know why it's so important to me. It's not that big a deal, you know, but it's just I don't know, the feel, the flow of a game, the way that the implements and equipment in FS19 unfold really, really slowly, and how they seem to have so many parts but not really beat up FPS. That sort of stuff just, I don't know, that does it for me in a game. I think we've gotten used to maybe sightlines being a little shorter, you know, because we play these big world games. But one of the tricks of a developer or a modder is to create a world that sort of gives you the impression that you're looking really far away, but you're not, because looking really far away can beat up your GPU pretty bad. So if you can make a world that seems big even though it's not, that's really twice now. Just try to get it there straight. So when you bring the sightlines in, really, come on now. When you bring the sightlines in, I think it gives you an opportunity to put a lot more. All right, screw it. We're just putting it on there. I don't know what was happening there. Maze Plus, Hose Mod, and Lighting Overhaul. I have not seen Lighting Overhaul yet. I've seen Maze Plus. I don't really grow a lot of Maze. And Hose Mod, I was playing with it early days. I think I got my first copy of it from GitHub. It wasn't even, say it's not available yet. It sounds like I'm in some kind of secret club, but I just mean it wasn't on the Mod Hub yet. I think I got my first one from GitHub, and it was beta. It was a work in progress. But I think because the game just was never really built to have soft body physics, it's always going to be having Hose Mod until the game is built on a new engine or something. I think it's always going to be a little bit wonky. Try not to throw my camera around here. It's sort of working. I never thought I'd play without more realistic, but I've been... I mean, obviously, we were playing without it on 19, and then getting back into 17, turning it on, and then turning it off again. So we're not using it right now. But drive control seems like it's... I don't know. They've expanded drive control out a little bit, so maybe drive control is sort of bridging the gap, because more realistic, I find it to be at times too punishing. But new drive control with the soft gas and the floaty steering, it's got kind of a... I don't know. It's not more realistic. It's a little bit more realistic. But yeah, nice slow acceleration, and even when you use the shuttle, it's like the tractor forces a pause. You don't just immediately start moving in the other direction as soon as you tap the shuttle. It's like it takes a while to find the gear or something. So it's not more realistic proper, but it still feels, I don't know, feels better than the base game. So I think what I'm going to do, because we're coming up on an hour and a half, I think what we'll do is get this thing returned, lease a cultivator, bring it back up here, get it started on this field. We'll probably call it right there, because the plow took about an hour and 20 minutes for this field. So I assume the cultivator would be, it might not be the full hour and 20 minutes, it will be a little bit wider, like 4 meters versus 3, but it'll still... Jaden, for real with the caps. Final warning. It'll still take a while. And I know we've been going kind of slow on this manure project. So I think we'll just get started on the cultivator and then I'll call it. All right. I'm so glad I remembered this. I really had. I forgot about it before. I forgot about the slurry, and I'd completely forgotten that we had this here. I don't know. I don't know what we would have done. Now, fortunately, we didn't spend all that money to buy manure, right? And then I realized we have enough here to do the whole field after we spend like 25 grand. I think we needed to do both. Because there's some here. There's not a ton. You know, the other thing we could have done is waited till next spring and not bought any. But what would we have done today? Got to do something. Honestly, I thought we would get this field knocked out a little bit sooner. And we would be zipping through time trying to see what some of these wintertime effects are. I haven't seen those at all yet. This is still my first year on the farm. But I'm told with seasons in the winter, this looks amazing. So I really want to see that. Oh, you know what? That sort of thing happens in real life. OMSI 2, it's a great game. It is. I would say, like, as far as bus simulators, that's got to be the absolute top of the list. I would say it's more serious than Train Simulator in terms of authenticity. It's almost got kind of a flight sim feel, where like every button, every switch, every knob, every dial, it all does something. And I really like that part of it. For me, what I can't get past are the face renderings and the actual gameplay itself, where you've got to like deal with the passengers and stuff. That's I don't know, I like the buses, I like the physics, I like the controls and everything. It's just the passengers I don't like. So it's sort of a real life simulator for me in that way. I was really disappointed by Fernbus. I wanted to like that, and I think it's probably the closest to what I want a bus simulator to be, but I just can't get it to play on my machine. Constant Unreal 4 crashes, which I think are related to hardware. I've heard great things about Sim Dashboard. I use Joel real timing for iRacing, and then I've got the second monitor for everything else. But JRT is, you can cast basically the Motec panel from the center of a steering wheel in a race car. You can cast that to a phone. So I clip my phone, I snap it into a little cavity on my steering wheel, and essentially I have a Motec panel, and then it can also stream to my tablet, which is mounted on top of my main monitor, and I have my live timing up there. So that's I think the closest that I've come to using Sim Dashboard. I feel like we're running out of manure here. Yeah. Yep. I don't know, man. I mean, I couldn't, like, you don't know what you don't know until you know it. Does that make sense? That's like some fortune cookie right there. But I didn't know how important it was to have a second monitor until I got a second monitor. Had I known, I would have got a second monitor a long time ago. But it's not just for streaming, but like for everything. It really, I don't know. It, like you said, it changes the way you play. All right, I think this is about it. Even if it's not, we gotta get wrapped up in the manure pit here. Trying to read. Oh, right on. You know, I didn't think about it for... Oh, perfect. I didn't think about it for Farm Sim. Truck Sim, I could see it definitely being great for that. But I hadn't thought about Farm Sim. All right. Done. Finally done. Really? 46 liters? 46. All right. So it goes. I'll just drop this over here again, and I'll continue cleaning up after the cows off camera. What? I hadn't even thought about that. I had not even thought about that. Okay, so you can make sim dashboard, or could you do that with a second monitor? Ah, because my second monitor is on the right. Interesting. Now I'm really curious about it. Right, because my second monitor is on the right, and when I'm in cab, right, that's where my displays are. Ah, that would be fantastic. Now I really want to try it. And is that the one, there's like a freeware and there's also a payware? Am I thinking of the right one? How far is this going to go? I say we end up like 75, 80% of the way done. This hasn't gone nearly as far as I thought it would. Yeah, we still got quite a ways to go here. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. You know the thing that I do though? I buy way too many mods and I'm into this Flight Sim X-Plane payware model now. I'm going to be going probably another 20 to 30 minutes, Errol. You know what? We might, because yeah, we got a couple rows like down the other side, and then this part right here is all that's left. Okay, we might get this done. What I do with payware is I do the microtransaction thing. I fall into that trap where it's like, oh, these are only these are only $10. I could get like 30 of them. Yeah, Ernie's got the band hammer. Oh, and an oil change. I think we have oil. Where do we have oil? Oh. Maybe at the store. The wheels are coming off, fam. Everything's falling apart at once. I've never gone bankrupt in Farm Sims. Could be historic first time. I don't even know what happens when you go bankrupt. Is it just game over? I don't know. I hope we don't find out. So tomorrow, I did want to fly tomorrow, and I've been concentrating. I did learn this from VATSIM. Very important lesson that I learned from VATSIM. It's tempting to just fly wherever you want, fly to any airport you want. But I was consistently flying back and forth between Gatwick and Glasgow, and I found it really helped me because I learned the airports. I learned the taxiways. It's a mod that I have, Pontus. It's by Black Panther Modding Group. I've got oil change, DEF, AdBlue, and handbrake made by them. What was I upset about? What was I just complaining about? I completely spaced. I don't even remember. Couldn't have been that important. We've got 30 grand down at. Oh, I was talking about airports. We've got 30 grand down at the BGA. We can sell milk. I think we'll make it. It's the Black Panther Modding Group, but they're sort of I don't know. Their forum is still up. It's in German. They're kind of hard to moderate. moderate. I'm trying to read the chat. What was the word I was looking for? Kind of hard to navigate. That's the word I was looking for. It's kind of hard to navigate their website. If you can't track down Black Panther modding, or if you can't track down those mods, just DM me in Discord and I'll drop them in a folder for you. They're super tiny. They're only like a couple $100K a piece. But they make like, I don't know, functional sort of mechanical mods. Yeah, we're going to get almost the whole field done. Not quite everything, but most of it. Yeah, I love them, Ernie. I think they... details, right? Like we were saying, it's all about the details. And I like the way that they sort of complicate things. Right? Like, it's like fuel, right? You got to put fuel in periodically. And it can complicate your plan. I was going to do this. I got to go get fuel. And depending on what vehicle you're putting fuel into, it could be a few hundred. It could be a few thousand. You know, some of the great big tractors. So it's definitely, I don't know. It's like we look for ways to make the game more difficult. All right, very carefully right through here. And I think maybe I have some oil. Maybe. I'm going to leave this right here till we confirm, so we know which way we want to go. Running. No, we got AdBlue over here. Do we have any oil? No. Damn it. All right, well, the store's open, and we've got... I know we can buy oil at the store. It's always something. So we'll take this thing back. We'll get an oil change, and we will lease a cultivator. Come back up here, get that started, and we'll call it. That's what I was talking about. Airports. So it was tempting to just fly wherever I wanted. That's a urea-based chemical that's added to diesel that reduces particulate emission. I thought I did too, but I can't remember where I put it. But you know what? We can just get more while we're down there. Why am I fighting this all of a sudden? There we go. That was easy. And before I forget, let's get in here off the lane. I completely left his gate open. Fortunately, my cows all have codependency issues. They don't make a break for it. Right, so flying to a lot of different airports is fun, but you've got to focus on several airports, as you would in real life. So I've been flying from Gatwick, from Glasgow, from Dublin now, and from Schiphol in Amsterdam. So if we fly tomorrow, I'd like to fly tomorrow. You know, I've thought about that, Fried. I've thought about that as a mod. It doesn't seem like it would be that difficult to script, because basically you would just give your gate a state, right? One for closed, 0 for open. If the value is 0 for longer than X seconds or X minutes, subtract 1 from your cow count. So if you leave your gate open all day, you can go from 60 cows to 30. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it'd be that hard to script. I can't write Lua. I can't write Lua to save my life. But somebody can. Somebody needs to script that. So we'll fly tomorrow, and since we already flew from Gatwick to Glasgow, then we can fly from any of those other 3 to any of the other 3. That makes sense. So we can fly Amsterdam to Dublin, or Glasgow to Amsterdam, or whatever. And I can demo. Man, I hope nothing crashes. I hope there's no game crashes. But I can demo that mod for you. It is cool. It is a cool mod, X-Life, because you do have all the other aircraft around you, but it does, as you get close to your destination airport, it does tell you what runway you'll be landing on, and it gives you your taxi instructions and gate, which is very realistic, because as you're descending, right, you pull out a chart for whatever airport you're landing at and figure out, well, if I'm going here, right, because it gives you your taxi instructions, so you know where you have to vacate the runway. And then you can start to lay out your plan, what taxiways you're going to take, and it takes you all the way to the gate, connect the jetway, the whole deal. And that is, I think there's, maybe it's like closure or something, I don't know. But when you start at the gate, cold and dark aircraft, take it all the way through pre-flight, taxi, fly, taxi again, taxi to the gate, bring the jetway over, shut everything down. I find that to be a very, very satisfying feeling. And it's one of those things, I don't know if you're any musicians, but I used to play music, as all people do. If you grew up in America, everybody was in a band. And it's like you can play the same song 20 times and really only get it the way you want it once. You know? So I think the thing about sort of repetitive sim gaming like that, like truck sim, like farm sim to some extent, you do the same thing every time you play, but sometimes it's just better. Sometimes it just really works out exactly the way you want it to, and it's just better. So when you can do those things in a flight and have it be absolutely perfect from end to end, it's a really, really nice feeling. All right, before I forget, come over here and do this. All right, like so. And then we're going to go see if there's any oil. I think there is some oil over here. I just got to remember where. Is it, you got it here. Ah, here we go. Here we go. So that is AdBlue, and that is oil, 2 liters. How many liters do we need? So it looked like 2, 4, and 6. I mean, I assume they're all at 2. So that's 2. That one is 2. That one is 2. All right, let me see how many. I think we need 8. The reason those all have 2 in them is when you buy it, it's got 10, and the... Sir. If we pull in here, I think we can see it. Caden, how you doing, man? I need to bring these over. I feel like, yeah, I can't quite get the tractor there. All right, so if we bring this over here, this is when it starts feeling like my summer car. And like so. Oh, this is definitely mini game mode right now. It's the game within a game. All right. You know what? While we're here, after we get done with this, while we're here, we'll just top off AdBlue. There's a jug of it right there. All right. Whoa. Easy. All right. Oil change. We need 8 liters. Oh, son of a... Damn it, man. That's why we have all those half-empty jugs of oil. There we go. All right. Well, let's buy another one. I mean, in fairness, at some point, we'll have enough of these built up that we can use them all for an oil change. But for now... Yeah, this is feeling very my summer car right now. You want to break into the Massey Ferguson dealer and get drunk on homemade moonshine? All right. So we'll drop that. We'll jump up and down. We'll drop that. Man, I'm fat fingering this game so bad. Okay, left control T. What? Did it give it to us? Somehow. Okay, somehow it gave it to us. I'll take it. So we'll put these back in here. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. It used one of the 2 liters, but it didn't take anything from the 10 liter. So who knows? This over here carefully. Right, like so. Right, like so. Ah. Yep. Again with the fat finger right there. Refill the DEF. Yep, only mods can post links, Rigel. Otherwise, there'd be chaos. Hey, I'm gonna remember. I'm gonna remember what is drop what you've got in your hand. All right, so AdBlue is topped off. Oil change is done. Here we go. So right over here, and I think, yeah, man, you got to urge your way into the circle of trust. All right, so we want a cultivator, and I think Bullet Bill's got some power harrows. Yeah, and these are 75 horsepower, so they will work. They're 3 meter. They'll take a little while, but I think, yeah, I've been using kind of exclusively Bullet Bill stuff. It's one of the reasons we turned off more realistic, so let's make the most of that and just use one of his. And ridge markers, I don't know. I'm not going to use them. I just want them on there. It's just one of those things. Put everything on the pizza, even stuff I don't like. All right, get these picked up. We'll be on our way. And I'm trying to figure out if there's any way off camera that I can get the last part of that field fertilized with manure before the cultivator gets to it, because we will... David, what's happening? We will get the double fertilizer bonus for any type of hard manure that we throw on there, so if we can get that last little bit done, you know what I mean? It's a good value. Because it's an area we won't have to fertilize twice. All right. So right through here. And where are we at on time? Perfect. We got 8 minutes to get to the farm, get this set up on course play, get it started, and that'll be 2 hours. Perfect. Oh, thanks, David. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a good map. It really, I think it lends itself to long play, slow play. Very atmospheric too. It was, when I started today, it was super cloudy, just like flat, dead lighting like you get when it's super cloudy. And it was noon, but it looked like probably 5 or 6 in the evening. And it went from there to being nice and a nice sunny afternoon. Yeah, I think I am. I was thinking of doing Chellington, maybe mixing Chellington in on 19. Just as kind of a counterpoint to this map. I mean, it's a great map, but it's why I did, what did we do? We did Hofbergman. We did 1 episode of that. Just kind of wanted to show you the map. But I feel like as realistically as we're trying to grow with just the 2 fields and the 1 tractor, it's like there's not a lot to do. So maybe we mix it in a little bit. You know, bring in some other maps, or bring in 19 a little bit, and keep coming back to this. But just, you know, because it's just, I don't want to say it's slow. It's realistic, I guess, if anything. But we are being pretty methodical with our 2 little fields. 6 Ashes Farming. 6 Ashes Farming Agency Edition. I got to look into that now. That sounds, you know what I'm saying? That sounds elaborate. That sounds like something. Yeah, it's very relaxing, Ernie. I love it. Shellington is off the mod hub. Why is that? Is that a FSUK? Okay, I'm sure somebody has a copy of it. Do you know why? Was it like a... I mean, Oxygen David, he's not going to be using unlicensed parts or anything. He wouldn't do that. And Giants, I mean, their policy, as I understand it, is as long as it doesn't make the game crash, they're not trying to assess quality. Ah, okay. That's a third possibility. All right, I was thinking more on the technical side, but yeah. Yeah. Unlicensed brands, interesting. I've always wondered about that. I feel like not just Giants, I feel like a lot of, developers use the mod community as a workaround to bring in equipment that they don't have a license for. It's just a quick and dirty workaround, and you know, make it like a First Amendment thing. I don't know. It's not copyright infringement. It's just, hey, somebody in our community is doing something. We have no control over that, but I could let them have John Deere in the game for years before they had the John Deere license. Oh, problem on console? Yeah, that's true. Starting location will start right here. Starting direction, automatic. Deactivated headland. This thing is narrow, so we'll say 3 headland passes. Afterwards, lay me out of course. Where are we starting? All the way. Let's just back up. Take the road over there. Yeah, I know what you mean, Fried. It seems like it's very very convenient on their part that they may not have a license for. John Deere and Colossus, I think, best example. They don't have a license for it, but you can get tons of restaurant quality mods for those brands on their mod hub. It's definitely what I would call a legal gray area, but hey man, if it works for them, if they're able to find a way to, you know, stay out of trouble with lawsuits and whatever, good for them, I guess. I can't imagine why anybody would not want their brand in this game. I mean, I know licensing agreements can work differently. Sometimes a company will pay to have their product in a game, and other companies will pay to bring a product into a game. So let me turn this off here. I'm going to start the first waypoint. Here we go. So you've got Bacardi or something. Needs to be unloaded. What? Hang on. You got Bacardi paying a movie producer to put... Stop. Sir? All right. You got Bacardi paying a movie producer to put their rum in a movie, right? And that's a licensing deal. But then you've also got another movie producer who's paying Bacardi to be able to use something in a movie. So it's all however people want to work it out. This is not working. Fertilizing and seeding? It's not that. Wrong tool for this mode. Yeah, I thought so. Well, what's going on here? Now, can we do it manually? Oh, don't make me do this whole field manually. Sir. Giant sent a very weird and kind of mean email. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. That seems kind of dumb of Giants, honestly. I mean, a big time modder like that, and he is a big time modder. Does this even work? It seems to be working. A big time modder like that definitely makes the game more appealing to a lot of people. I can't see. I mean, it's not going to take that long. What are they talking about? They don't have the time to preview the entire map. That seems irresponsible. That seems like a relationship that you want to maintain. The Giants would want to maintain that relationship because modders like Oxygen David make the game so much more appealing to the players. That's yeah. How long is it? All I see is live. I don't know what that means. I'm going to do once around, see if we can put this on a worker. If we can't, I will end the stream. And I'll figure something out off camera. Dumb worker may not be able to do this. So we've got quite a bit of overlap going on here. Let me scoot this thing over to the left a little bit. The other thing I want to check is after we've made it all the way around, I want to see if we are getting our double FERT bonus. Yeah, I agree, Ernie. I don't think anybody would be, and I think Giants knows that. If it was just base game after all this time, you know, 17 has been out for 4 years, going on 5, and 19 has been out for 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. They've both been out for a minute. If nothing had been added to them since day one, I wouldn't be playing it. The DLC is nice, but there hasn't been that much of it. And it really doesn't add a lot to the game. If I was still playing one of the original FS19 maps, or 17 maps, I'd be out of my mind. Well, I can't say that. I wouldn't be playing it at all. It would have been completely played out. Even the first time around, the Western Shore that we're on now, it's the best map I've ever played, but after about 200 hours, it was played out. So if the best map can get played out, then a base game map certainly could, and I think pretty much the entire player base by now would be absolutely done with this game. So Giants has to know the only reason this game exists in its current state, the only reason they're still in business, is the modders. And in fairness, I don't know both sides of the story, and I also don't know what Giants does do as far as communicating with modders and working with them. It sounds like I'm, you know, kind of dumping all over them, like they need to do this or they need to do that. It could be that they already do a lot, and I just don't know about it. But I would think those relationships are the ones you would really want to maintain. Yep, absolutely agree with you, David. It would not be... I'm tempted to say it wouldn't be the same franchise without them, but I don't think it would be a franchise at all. I don't think it would have made it to 17. I think it would have withered and died after 15. And if it did somehow make it to 17, it definitely wouldn't have made it to 19. All right, so this is our headland here. We'll see if the smart worker can figure it out. If they can't, you know... And I know it's not typically how it's done where you cut your headland in first, but you know with dumb workers you have to. Not realistic, but got to make exceptions. Removed unlicensed. Yeah, well, I mean, that's on them. If they want to find every occurrence of copyright infringement or licensing, then they need to look for it. If they're going to leave it up to him to find them, come on now. Yeah, I bet it was. I was saying earlier that the farm sim crowd is probably the most civil and most polite of all the sim communities, but being the most polite doesn't necessarily mean that it's a relative term. So I can't imagine how fired up they got. It's a big deal to a lot of people. It really is. It's something that I was thinking about yesterday and the day before when all that stuff was going down with VATSIM and X-Plane, is I was realizing that I have a library of sims that I play. But I saw some people on Reddit that were talking about being banned from VATSIM after they'd put 3,500 hours on the service. And I think, man, that is respect, of course. But, you know, don't you have other sims? And for some people, it is kind of a spirit animal thing. They play a game one time and it's like, yep, that's it. That's me. That's me forever. Forever and ever. And we want the active side to be the left, the right. AI mode, circle off. We do want... I mean, I'm going to try this. I never know how it works. We'll see if we can get it to work. There he goes. All right. So Courseplay doesn't like it, but Base Game seems to like it. We'll let him do a couple cycles and we'll call it. I forget that different people game differently. And I really do like to switch it up. Obviously, you can see from the channel, Sir, I love a lot of different types of sim gaming. And there we go. I like a lot of different types of sim gaming. I want to share a lot of different types of sim gaming with you, but I do recognize there are some people that there is one sim and one sim only that they play. One ping only, Yuri. That's all they play. Whether it's farm sim, flight sim, racing, whatever. And these games are addictive. It's, you know, chemically. I'm not using the term lightly. You can get hooked on dopamine, and these games give you a release of dopamine. So it's possible to get hooked on these games, truly hooked. And if it's all you do, if it's all you have, and there's a possibility of it being taken away from you or altered in a way that it's going to be different from what you're used to or what you need, people flip the F out. So curious to see how it all plays out. I do hope they get that worked out, because I would hate to see modders they're moving away from this franchise, and they're moving away from modding left and right. I would hate to see Giants lose another quality committed modder. Hope they know what they're doing. All right, that's 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours and 2 minutes. That's perfect. Oh, okay. You're waiting on me? I'm sorry. So we'll call it there. Caden, if you're still in the house, we're going to fly tomorrow. I don't know where we're going to fly to or from, but it will either be, our departure will either be Amsterdam, Dublin, or Glasgow. And our arrival will either be Dublin or Amsterdam. Did I say that right? I think I did. So we'll fly tomorrow. I haven't decided what we'll fly, either the Zibo 737 or that MD-88. There you go. Turn this off. Thanks, everybody. You're great. I appreciate you. Rogel, I'm on to you, brother. It's not going to work. Thanks, everybody. You're awesome. I do appreciate you. See you tomorrow. Take care. Good night.